Oh, that hurt. What's up, you guys? Welcome to my workout. This is not a tutorial nor instructional video. This is just my actual workout. As I do this, I'm going to try to explain to you guys what I'm doing and why. But I don't recommend anything that you're going to see me do on any of these videos, especially today. This is kind of a dangerous exercise. You'll see why in a moment. It's the double kettlebell snatch. It's one of my favorite exercises since I became certified in RKC and AKC back in 2009. The double kettlebell snatch has always been one of my favorite and the most powerful pulling or back type of exercise for me. It's extremely dynamic. If you do combat sports or once again any sports, you'll see the application of this exercise is very apparent. It trains me to resist being displaced as well as being able to generate tremendous force against another object or opponent. I no longer fight. I haven't fought in years, but I've always been a believer that if you're in condition to fight, then you're in condition to do almost anything else that would fall below the physical demands of combat. So anyway, and once again, just real quick on how I program myself. It's random. On Monday, I did dumbbell suitcase deadlifts with my new power block dumbbells. So that kind of got on my legs, my hips, and my back. So yesterday I gave those a rest, and I did some dumbbell bench press on the big Duraball I was using. So that was a push movement in my upper body. So today my legs are feeling better, so I'm going to be using them in conjunction with a very powerful back pulling movement. All right, so I'm just going to get started because my dad's coming over for dinner soon. We're having ribs tonight. Not barbecue ribs, just regular ribs with black salt and pepper. So, okay, so stiff knees. Okay, let's warm up. Okay. I'm going to be using competition kettlebells. So they're all the same size, regardless of their weight. So light ones like this is 12 kilos or 26 pounds. It's actually, there you go, it's hollow, okay? So it looks big, but it's not a big deal. All right. I always use a goblet squat to kind of warm up my knees. My knees are, they're not what they used to be. Okay, so starting posture, double X posture. Extended spine, expanded chest. Try to look like a bodybuilder at the top of this, so I have a very long lever through my body. I'm prying my thighs out to the side as I slide my hips back. Trying to feel the inner thigh musculature assume a lot of the weight of what's on me. Once again. One more time. Okay, I just do a very, very quick warm-up, and I only do a few reps. Doesn't really matter if I'm warming up or working out. I just want a few of the highest quality reps that I can produce. All right, here we go. Double X posture, extended spine, expanded chest. I'm I'm trying to flare my lats. Here we go. On the goblet squat, for me, I like to see if I can make my forearms parallel throughout the movement. I find that is more demanding on my core, and it just prevents my elbows from banging into my knees. But more importantly, if you insist on parallel forearms, you should find that it feels more difficult, but it feels more difficult because you are now using more muscle, okay? So that's a good thing. All right. So I'm not abbreviating anything. That's literally all the warm-up I do. And the actual warm-up for any exercise I do is just I start with a light version of it, and I go real easy on that, and then I just add weight, and we'll see how far I can get in about half an hour. Okay, so now kettlebell swing. I'm going to use double 12-kilo bells. I do not do the traditional hip hinge swing. I've learned that, but I've never really been a big fan of it because I like to use my legs a lot more than a hip hinge. So here's what it looks like. Okay, and that was just the range of motion that I could match my breathing to what I was doing. I like to practice a style of breathing I learned from a guy named Vivobarefoot and his team of the AKC, and it's not the American Kennel Club, it's I believe the American Kettlebell Club. These kettlebells are all from Valery Fedorenko. Google him or look him up on YouTube, because he has a lot to do, as well as Pavel Tsatsouline, with bringing the kettlebell to American culture. And I've been certified by both of them, and they're both very instrumental in physical culture, modern physical culture. Okay. In this country. All right. I'm now going to, I have to build up to the double kettlebell snatch in stages, so I start with a nice easy swing, and now I'm going to do what's called a high pull. A high pull exercise allows me to involve, and this exercise by itself could be a workout, but right now I'm going to use it to transition me into the double kettlebell snatch. Before you learn the snatch, you should learn to do the high pull, either single or double arm, because this exercise will teach you how to integrate your leg, your core, and your upper body into a movement that ideally at the top, your forearm and the kettlebell should end up in alignment so that you can pull it back. It's sort of like you're doing a standing row. This will also test the integrity and the integration of your joints and muscle systems. You might see this falter on my left side. I have damage to my left wrist, and sometimes when I'm trying to do what I just showed you, things roll around, or I have to be a little bit more specific with how I do that, okay? But anyway, let's go. Start with a nice easy swing and just get this going. So we'll start low. Just build it up. Now I'm going to try and push them out in front of me. I'm actually trying to direct them slightly upwards now. Okay. No matter what I'm doing, I regulate my exertion by how well I can synchronize my breathing to whatever it is I'm doing. So that's sort of like my governor switch from doing more than I need to or more than is necessary to develop the skill. So by doing that, I save a lot of energy for the next set. And to me, breathing well is actually more important than all of this stuff. These are all reasons for me to practice breathing, okay? So when the breathing cycle starts to deteriorate, it's a good point for me to stop, because soon after the movement quality will follow, and then I have what I feel is an unnecessary buildup of lactic acid and other metabolic byproducts that take longer for me to clear, and that makes my workouts take too long. I like to spend time with my family. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people think I work out for hours. I don't. What I do here on these videos, that is all I do. I don't turn off the camera and then do more. I do walk my dogs, but that's it. So I'm not holding back or hiding anything from you guys. When I end this workout, I might throw a few kicks or do a few mobility drills, but that's it. All right, I gotta shut up. Here we go. These are 16 kilo kettlebells, 35 pounds. Same thing, I'm gonna build up from the swing into the high pull movement, and that just prepares my mind and my body for the double snatch. All right, here we go. Hey, if you like my boots, they're by Vivobarefoot. These are the Magna FG leathers. I'm not trying to sell shoes to you guys. I have to wear shoes for this one, because you'll see in a little while, these things push me around. And yeah, I can do them barefoot, but if I lose my footing on this, it puts me at risk of injury. And having strong shoes on allows me to do strong lifts and minimize the risk of injury. Okay. I don't know why I put those away. I got to do my snatch now. Okay, here we go. So, I'm real anxious to get to those 20 kilo or 44 pound kettlebells there, because they scare me and they make me nervous. All right. Even though I know I'm not gonna hit those bells, psychologically it's good to clear your area on a exercise like this, because it's good for the mind. Okay, here we go. First set of the snatch. Now, you saw all that. My shoulders, that was a little test to see how those bells would land. A lot of you know I have shoulder or overhead mobility issues. So based on how that first repetition felt, it's good for me to prepare not just my rotator cuff. I consider my rotator cuff and the lateral core that lies beneath it, as well as the shoulder blade, as one complex. So if I'm having issues in my overhead, and it appears to be coming from my rotator, but most likely it's also coming from limitations in here and even perhaps here, who knows? All right, so I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail on what I'm doing here, because I've done that in another video. But I'm trying to connect the kettlebell to my midsection, and I'm not trying to use my arms to move the kettlebell. I'm trying to use my legs. So I create a strong base in my legs. I connect the kettlebell to the side of my body, and now I move my torso in a way where as I tilt my torso, the bell kind of falls into position without me having to move it there with my arms. Okay. I could always do more, but when I'm trying to develop a skill, fatigue is the enemy of skill development, so I'm gonna stop there. Okay. Yes, I could do more to mobilize my shoulders, but, and this is stupid, don't do what I'm doing on this. I know it sounds idiotic, but I've always thought this way. If you have to respond to a situation that simulates the demands of this exercise, I know I'm not going to have really time to warm up. So I need to have my capability ready in spite of optimal preparedness. And yes, some of you might say that, well, that's maybe why you have these joint issues. That could be, but it's just how I roll. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up and let's go. Here we go. Okay, so as I'm coming up, there's a compensation where I'm running out of space here. I'm now creating it in my lower back. My hip is coming forward. That is not ideal, but, and I don't recommend any of you spend too much time doing that. But one thing about conditioning is we'll condition good habits and we'll condition bad habits. And regardless of which one you're talking about, the body's capable of adapting to both. So once again, this is not what I recommend, but as I go forward here, I might have to make certain compensatory allowances. And I hope I'm prepared for those. I've been doing these for a long time, and so far things have worked out well. All right, here we go. One more time. So maybe you saw me teeter a little bit. This is another thing I do not recommend, and why I wear the boots. Vivobarefoots, they look like regular shoes, but they have a wide toe base. That's a real popular term, I know, but they allow my feet to spread out as if I'm barefoot, but they also provide a wider base, and they're flat. So it's like I'm barefoot, but I have a larger base than I would have to land this exercise. I'm also working out on about a 3 degree or it's almost 4 degree slope. Not a good idea. I've been working out here for many years now. I've adapted to it. But when you have something that's pulling you that way and they're standing facing, you know, the slope is in the direction of the force you're catching, that makes things a little more difficult. And me, I kind of like that, but that's, as much as possible, practice your kettlebells on a level surface, okay? Don't practice on a slope. And if you're gonna practice on a slope, This is okay. This slight angle going down, this is great. You can sort of like working out on a wedge. This is not. But once again, nothing I'm doing here do I recommend. This is just how I work out and some of the silly things that I do. Okay. These are the 20 kilo bells. So these are 20 kilos or 44 pounds each. I'm just going to do one or two just to prepare my mind and body for maybe doing a few more. Okay, here we go. Okay. So there's two things going on here. I have to generate not just the ability to resist the downward, the vertical downward pull of gravity. That's a given in everything we do. In order to get these bells going in this arc out in front of me, as I accelerate them, of course, they're producing centrifugal force. And these are I guess my shoulders become the fulcrums, and those fulcrums are mounted on a very long lever, especially as I'm standing up. So these bells are, as they're gaining speed, they're pulling harder on me as they're coming up because I have to accelerate them in order to get them up. So as I'm lengthening the lever of my body, the force, the centrifugal force they are exerting on me is also going up. And that is why I love this movement, because I have to adapt to those variables at a speed that is much higher than the speed of like a regular row or something, you know, any kind of similar, or there's nothing similar to this, but any kind of traditional weightlifting row or back pull movement. Okay, I gotta shut up. I'm gonna talk to you guys on the breaks here because I think it's I wanna try and share with you as much of what I do. And I'm not telling you to do this, but I just, in case you're curious, I just wanna share with you why I do what I do and what my motivation is for doing it. All right, here we go. Another thing, this set doesn't have to be bigger or better than the previous one. I'm just gonna see what happens. So before I bring these bells up, I'm doing this. I'm actually trying to tighten the fascia in my back. I should feel like, sort of like if I tucked my if I tucked a shirt too far into my shorts, I should feel like I'm untucking it. I should feel that tightness and that movement. Just imagine trying to untuck a shirt that's tucked too far into your shorts. That'll engage your back fascia, or at least it does mine. Here we go. Okay, so I explained what's going on the way up. So as I'm accelerating and centrifugal force is being increased more and more, there's a point where I have to redirect the bells back towards me to connect them to my arms, so they end up actually bringing me into extension. I should not be egg flipping those bells over my head, because with this exercise, if I'm doing that, then that's going to be a fail. That cannot happen. The bells, I'm actually trying to in any kettlebell snatch, I'm actually trying to get the bell to flip below my shoulders. It's not literally gonna look like that, but that's what I'm trying to do. From here, I'm packing my shoulders, retracting my scapula. It doesn't matter how strong your arm is, you will not be able to overcome the centrifugal force of a kettlebell at full arm's length. You're gonna need all of this. That is the only thing that is going to get those bells to do what you want them to do. Sorry, I got a little worked up there. Okay, okay. Getting to the end here. You can see these kettlebells are very well loved. These are my babies. They have been through my entire kettlebell journey. So was that 2009? Yeah, I recently posted my first ever YouTube video to Instagram, and yeah, it's been 15 years I think since I started kettlebells, and these were my first pair. I did all my certifications with them, and God, I love these guys. Okay. All right, so I would like to snatch these 53-pound, 24-kilogram kettlebells, but might have to work up to that. So okay, so I'm just telling my base, my legs, okay, this is what these guys feel like at the bottom of the lift, okay? And then I'm gonna take a nice long recovery. I no longer try to beat the hell out of myself on any given set, because despite what I think my intentions are for my body is a separate beast from me, and it is only here to protect itself from other things, other people, and me. So if every time I do something I beat the shit out of myself, as much as I might understand why I'm doing that, my body doesn't. And it'll start coming up with lots of reasons going forward to not want to do any of this anymore. So that's just me, though. I'm sure a lot of you are tougher than that. Okay, so here we go. Another thing, the risk of injury on this is high. So as I start working up to this, if for any reason I feel like, and I've done this a lot, so I know, I think, what those signs are, then I abort. And I don't care if I don't do it. It doesn't, I don't lose sleep over it. As long as I can return tomorrow to be with you guys and do something else, then I'm cool. All right, here we go. Wow, that was a rush. So you can see, I didn't mention I have ADHD, and I might start talking about something and then I'm going to totally forget. But I'm going to come back to the thing I was trying to explain to you guys maybe 2 or 3 sets ago. So I explained to you the dynamics of the single, double kettlebell, doesn't matter. What I feel the mechanics and the variables that are working on me when I'm going up coming down, I actually want to not just dump them out in front of me. I'm going to displace myself backwards. This is now, I guess, I don't know if these are the right terms, the fulcrum for this arc. And if I just go like this, bam, I'm gonna get slammed onto my toes. And that's no good. So what I wanna do is I roll the bells in a little bit. I'll explain that on another video. And then I try to move back so the bells actually fall as slowly as possible. Another thing, if they are just falling out of control and I sense they're just gonna snap me, then I should never be in that situation. But because if I abort on that, the board is going to be really pissed off at me. But anyway, so on the downswing, I don't count it for me, the double kettlebell snatch does not start here. It isn't until I snatch it up here. This is the starting point. From here, I have to absorb all of that force and then redirect it back up to here. That's, for me, 1 rep. I do not count the preparatory phase. Okay, I think maybe just 1 more set of these should be good. And once again, it's not a weight for weight's sake. It takes more skill and more reactivity for me to deal with this weight than it does a lighter weight. And yes, there's a lot more risk involved, but I've learned to manage the risk. And you know, you never know. I might just blow myself out right here on this video in front of you. And that could happen, right? At my age, a lot of things can happen, but hopefully not. All right. I gotta wind this up because my ribs are cooking. Okay, here we go. And once again, this set does not have to be better than the one that came before it. I just have to breathe and move as best as I can. Whew. Saw that left knee. I'm also, whenever I do high speed movements like this, I record in slow motion because I like to study all the things that I do wrong and that go wrong as I'm doing this. I can't possibly feel everything. And obviously at regular speed, I can't see everything. So if you guys work out at anything, especially if it's kind of fast, record yourself at slow motion. It is the best coach you'll never pay for. I promise you. And if you have a coach, your coach would want to see those videos. So do that. Okay, seriously, I'm done. I might do a few, stiff. I might do a few mobility things, and if I do, I'll turn the camera back on so I can share that with you as well. But if you're still here, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you watching. Once again, this is just my workout. Dangerous stuff here. I don't recommend that anyone do it, but I hope that some of the principles that I have shared with you will in some way help you. Okay, guys, bye.